p.m. And yet, what they are studying is from the people who go to classroom at 9 a.m. and leave classroom at 3 p.m. Okay? So what's happening with us? I think we don't need to play it now. We'll play it perhaps at the end. And so saying, how come with all this level of education, nothing is changing? When I spoke to him 3 days ago about that rant, I asked him whether he'd had any response to his rant on education. So he said the Education Commission service called him and invited him to write a paper. And then he said, no, I cannot write a paper because I asked the questions and I'm looking for answers. What answers can we get about this? So he was expecting the Education Service Commission to maybe announce that going forward, school should start at 9 a.m., end at 3 p.m. We mustn't have any prep and so on and so forth. And by the way, some of these things exist, but they are not effective. Okay. But just to add on, for example, if he'd been with me, if I'd been his producer in that rant, and I've said, with all the education we have, how come we have not yet produced the safety pin? Okay, I see some young people in this audience. So when I talk about producing safety pins, they will not understand that in 1986, we made a determination to even make safety pins. And so many years later, I think we still import them. Is that correct? Yes. So, and some more, we have highly educated leaders. So if you have highly educated leaders, then how come we are not progressing as a country to the level of the highly educated leaders? I think whenever you hear the list of cabinet, there must be about 4 profs, Professor whoever and Professor Dr. who and Dr. that, and so on. But the level of our progress does not match the educational ability of the leaders that are our bosses. And then Mr. Mulumba, for him, he seemed to be complaining that there's a tension on history in terms of what children are learning at the moment. And then he made a comment on the dialects. In fact, I first saw it because someone sent to me and said, Oscar, in your school, are you studying dialects? So I sent it to the science teachers, and the science teachers said, yes, we study dialects. It was divided because we asked the dual curriculum school. And so I had a bit more education on how we study dialects. So it is not true, as Bloomberg had put it, that dialects are not necessary. Dialects are not extinct. They are still relevant and we have them. But perhaps what he should have talked about, or what we teach, is a circuit board. So if you go to S4, physics, A-level physics, and this is modern physics. This is the irony of the subject, because of the topic. That topic is under modern physics. But the teacher also argued it could fit very well into historical physics rather than modern physics. So in our UNEP curriculum, the children would study, and possibly in schools like ours that have the projector, I would project the board, the circuit board, and then I'll get you to recite all the things that are on the circuit board. Okay? And maybe in the Cambridge curriculum, on the other hand, we would get a circuit board and explore it, take the diodes off, put them back on, explain the importance of these diodes and so on. Touch that board so that it is relevant, so that you understand what each part is doing. That's one of the basic differences in both curricula. And the physics teachers on the other side told me that they'll teach you how to connect the diode and the purpose of the diode. And then there's a lot to learn. Transformers, resistors, inductors, capacitors. I also learned another one, IC, and this happens to you when you go to your local garage. The mechanic says, say your IC died. So for the first time I understood it is a letter I and a letter C. It is IC, not I always wondered IC. And even the mechanic can explain it to you. Okay, so the integrated circuit, maybe it has blown up, but if it says IC has died, you'll give him 100,000 for fixing that little circuit. And you know what? When you don't teach practically, so when we teach that topic, because I asked how long does it take to teach that topic? The teacher told me maybe it will take half the time, about 7 weeks, okay, of teaching the circuit board. If you provide a motherboard, okay, and if you wish to see a motherboard, go and get an old radio, open it up, you will have a circuit board ready for them. If you now get one and they are handling it and they are putting it together, I was told that entire topic could take 3 weeks if you are a slow teacher, okay? And that's it. If you work practically, that's what can happen. So there's a problem there. So I asked the science teacher, this Mulumba is complaining that we are in science, it is more like history than science. So what is it that we are still teaching that is right? And they told me it is the cathode ray tubes. Okay, you know cathode ray tubes? They are in those television, okay, that are the large television that has a large back, to use a good word. Okay, and that these are extinct now, okay, but we still study them, and we don't say that this is history, but we study them in S4, and students may possibly be examined on them, and yet they are extinct. They are not used anymore. What is used now in your television is a semiconductor. It doesn't come on the syllabus, or if you're a good teacher, you can tell your class that this is kind of historical. It is the semiconductor that is in those flat screens that provide light and so on and so forth. Bit of a challenge. So last week, I engaged. I spent an afternoon with a retired surgeon who is an interesting fellow. And randomly, we talked about swimming in the lake. We're talking about swimming in Narinonia. So the question was, how do you choose a good place to swim in the lake? Because we used to swim when I was at swimming. We would swim and cross over. There used to be a good place across the lake. But I was explaining in a very, I don't know, theoretical manner, without giving reason. But we used to swim right, okay? And when you swim extreme right, you kind of land where you're going, which is directly in front of you. So this guy then said, no, that's so easy. Because the problem is you are cutting across the waves. And when you're cutting across the waves will take you. So if you swim direct, the waves will take you, and then you go very far to the left of where you intended to go. So he told me, I still need to talk to him to understand it better. He said, if you're looking for a place to swim in the lake, it is best to work out where the wind is coming from. Then get the wind behind you and then swim to the left. And that way, you'll be able to get your direction without increasing your distance like we used to do. Because at that time, at St. Mary's swimming, you would end up using a lot of energy because you went right and then really being brought back left because of the waves.
Recording in progress.
An explanation was so clear, and I just thought, hey, wow, what a fantastic guy. But then I remembered, I think some of you know him, Rtn Joseph Stanrike of Sunrise. Do you know he's an engineer? He's an engineer, trained engineer, and he has done some engineering work as well with which Ministry of Works, I think, in his formative years. But he's one of the founders of, he's one of those who founded OutX, okay, a securities exchange. So imagine that. Last week, because there's a group I'm on with him, he was engaging some professors in a vigorous argument on types of laws, legality, and morality with regard to charges against Donald Trump. So I thought about these two fellows and I thought, how you talked about how we want our students to have that excellence. But this gentleman, Kitamiki has founded a securities exchange. Nothing to do with engineering. Nothing to do physics. And this securities exchange is doing very well, okay? They're doing very well with the philosophical argument, okay? Quoting principles and so on. And I just said to myself, our students to be like this, what should we do? Because that's the education that I need to get a student to be like that. Quite revealing. So many years ago, Chico Thinkers, we published a paper on education. The title of the paper is Creating a Thinking Person. And I'll send it to Rtn here or Rtn Francis. And in that document, we argue that the colonizers were very deliberate about the education they wanted for us. For them, they were knowledgeable. What kind of education do we want for Ugandans? So they were looking for low-level cadres, if I can use such a word. They wanted class. People can be, low-level leaders. And hence, they designed the education to produce that kind of person. A person who listens to instructions. A person who obeys, okay? A person who is not thinking. And they achieved it. And for a long time, and some would even dare say that even up to today, we are producing that kind of person. And that kind of person would be very, very good for business. Like for us, when we graduated at Mackay University, different organizations would come to the university and offer us jobs, those that got them. But right now, it is impossible. There are not enough offices to take all of the people that are undergoing that kind of education. So we've had a problem of not knowing why we take our children to school. Whenever I've asked a parent, why do you take your children to school? Some are clear, and that's very good. There's a parent who told me that the only reason I bring my child to you is because you have good food. So in terms of clarity, that one is very clear. Whether that constitutes a higher order skill, higher order thinking, I don't know. Because in the scheme of things, maybe you don't need only good food to make it in life, okay? But this man told me, I only bring them there because of good food. So when the milk is not enough, when there's not enough, and then I told this parent, it's very interesting. Every time I go to assembly, I tell children, please have one banana. A banana was not designed to make you full, okay? Please have one boiled egg. A boiled egg was not designed to make you full. Please have one bun. The bun was not designed to make you full. Please don't buy anything at the counter because we have them in the dining room. Obviously, some of them don't listen to me. They'll want to take 2 or 3 bananas. They'll want to take 4 eggs. And you know what can happen when you take 4 eggs? It's a problem. And by the way, even Rotary itself is tuned into what kind of education that we should have. Rotary wants us to have education that will grow Rotary. So they are careful about educational content for Rotary purposes. So how come we, the parents, have not thought about what kind of education that we would like for our children? Interestingly, one of my nieces, a relative, when she finished year 13, the equivalent of S6. So I asked her, which university are you going to go to? Which course would you like to pick up? And she said to me, you know what? I think I don't want to go to university. I don't want to go. I'm tired of studying. And she told me very clearly. So we had this discussion. The only problem is if you do not want to study anymore, then what shall you do? Because from what I've heard about you, you don't like to work. Then she said, yeah, I also don't like to work. At least not. So then I said, okay, so what are you going to do? And she said, a few weeks later, she came up and told me, let me study some more because that's the thing that is the in thing. You just study, and then somewhere you will end up somewhere. Okay? Very interesting observation for someone now who is an adult at 18 years. Okay? Still not having purpose at that age. I would say in Uganda, we've had some direction because a little while ago, there was, apart from when we said females going to university. What was the title of that one?
1.5.
1.5 females going to, but it used to have a title. Oh, I forget. People who benefit from it should tell us what it is. The 1.5 policy. Affirmative action for women. Yes, that's you know, it's the men who know 1.5. So maybe it annoyed you at the time. But the affirmative action was to get more girls to go to university. So the government said that female students will get 1.5 added to their total tally so that they can get into university, get into good courses. That was a good policy, okay? I've been trying to work them out. Then, of course, we have UPE. The UPE is also a policy that that was brought in to encourage more students, more children to go to school. And then in recent times, we've had science, the promotion of science courses. It started with university, whereby the sponsorship that used to be for everyone was reduced and given more to science subjects. Now it has gone to schools to say that teachers of science should be paid a little bit more so that we have science subjects. Of course, sometimes our policies, they need more work, but the idea is not bad at all, even though it needs more work. Then there are challenges we've had in the education sector. The first challenge is commercial competition. You know, when you think about competition in education, it's more like commercial competition. Private schools want to get good grades, okay, and want to show that they have gotten good grades. So it is all very, very commercial, and maybe not so much into education. We have teaching to the exam. So you find that a lot of work, a lot of educational work is about the exam. And this is fully supported by you, the parents. The parents, I always include parents in their challenge. You know, a parent of a child in P1, the parent is telling you, this child is so bright, but I don't know any child who is not bright in P1. Okay? Every child in P1 should be bright. In fact, we had a school policy that all children in P1, P2, P1 going down, they should be getting very close to 100% if ever you have a test or anything for them. Okay, because it is not good for such young children to meet with failure at an early stage. Yeah. Then there's the infrastructure as well. You know, if OSM is telling me that you need a circuit board, how many schools are going to afford a circuit board? How many schools are going to touch a diode or a small transformer? So the infrastructure is also a challenge and continues to be a challenge, and not so sure how we can overcome that one. Of course, staff. Sometimes you have demotivated staff. The other day, the president met with some teacher and found out that teacher managers, like head teachers, have been missing out on the science allowance because they are managers. So again, he said, no, such teachers should not miss out. Then COVID time took out a lot of teachers left teaching and they did not return. So that is also a challenge that's been there. But in the Chico paper, we recommend that have an understanding. Why have you taken your child to school? So I told the parents of my niece that this one, she has gone to school because she has grown to grow up a little bit more. So the discussions they are going to have with her are about growing up a little bit more, staying in there, you know, go to the end and get the university degree and learn about work. But the parent, if you've not had a discussion with her, you'll come up and say, but these are very poor grades. I'm paying a lot of money. What happened to the poor? The grades graph. But this one told you at a very early stage that she has no interest in what? In studying anymore. And she's like in a waiting room to go to work. That's why she has gone to university. Of course, we don't know that. When we don't speak with our children, we don't learn about them. Artificial intelligence. And we think artificial intelligence has just arrived. No, it is just growing quicker. It has been with us, you know. So I'll tell my phone here, hey Siri, please call Bale. Then I switched to volume. Then in the early days, I'd say, please call Bale. Then it says, which number do you want for Bale? Okay. And these days, because it has not even the number I call for Bale. And these days it says, hey Siri, please call Bale. And she says, calling Bale. Okay. So it means Siri has learned the accent, no longer says Bale. Siri, please call Katamba. And it will tell me, calling Katamba. But now she says, calling Katamba now. You know Katamba and Katumba? Because they says, Siri, call Katamba, Katumba. Now it says, calling Katumba now. So AI is here. It's a formidable force to think about. And, it is up. Siri is actually calling Bale. Sorry. So this is a story, and let me tell you ahead that I want you to laugh just as I laughed then. One of the school managers came to me and said, you know, there's a problem because for the last 2 years since we're in COVID and so on, we have no dictionaries. So I'd like to make a requisition and buy a dictionary. You know, I laughed so loud. I laughed. And I said, dictionary. You know, it's so funny now when someone asks for a dictionary. And I'm sure you have a dictionary on your shelf somewhere, gathering dust very well. Okay? So his teacher said, but it's the requirement. But then I told the teacher, what are you going to do with this requirement? A dictionary is obsolete. We cannot have dictionaries. But also, it's very telling. It's very, very telling about Uganda, our education, and how we employ what we have. This dictionary story was so revelatory, you know? So on your phone there, you have a dictionary, okay? So as you're writing a message, the dictionary is trying to correct your words and spell them better. But a lot of people cannot spell. So when we say looking for a good education, already you have spelling tools, but we do not use them. Is this us? Is this Uganda? When you write an essay, when you write something in Microsoft Word even wants to correct your punctuation. Okay? And yet we have a lot of work that is poorly punctuated. So is it our mindset? Shall we need to work on that as well? Do we refuse to accept a good education? Challenging. Just as I was coming, because I parked somewhere because of traffic, got an Uber to come to this fellowship. But the car with ministry number plate E for education was driving the wrong way. But those are the bosses for our education. Okay? They are the bosses for our education. So I don't know how we are going to get a good education when those things are still happening. And a lot of people like us, all of us in this room, we drive cars. Many times us, we are the ones who are driving the wrong way with children in the car. But then we are worried about where can I find a good education for my child? You're in the car with them, driving the wrong way, but really worried about a good education for that child. Okay? It beats understanding, you know? Do you know taxi drivers? Yeah, I kept saying that taxi drivers have different blood. Okay. And if you have your kind of blood, please don't wait to do taxi driving. So taxi driver will insult you, and then you open your window as well. Insult them back. Okay? Your child is seated next to you. Then you say, that man, I will next time add my sticker, give him to go. Your dear daughter, child seated right there with you. Okay? Understanding this good education that you are imparting. So we have a challenge. You know, at school, we even had to put out posters saying a child below 12 years should not sit at the front. And you know, it was a difficult thing to tell parents. So we started telling children, okay? And telling children, do not sit in front if you are below 12 years. And that way it worked, okay? But very big challenge. So what should we do? In the film most likely to succeed, the producer, Dinta Smith, recommends some things. Number one, okay, what is a good education? Is for children to have purpose. A child must have purpose. And that purpose should be about work. Purpose should be about the importance of work. You understand the purpose, importance of work, and also the importance of your work. Of course, it comes back to us teachers that we are giving children meaningful work, that we are giving children purposeful work. And if it is not happening at your school, please address it. Some parents want quantity, and quantity will not give you purpose. Okay? Even a little bit of homework is very, very good so long as it is purposeful. So number one is purpose. Number two, essential. Provide essential skills and mindsets. Okay? Learning experiences should foster competencies that are essential to adults, e.g., creative problem solving, critical analysis, communication, collaboration, citizenship, character, financial literacy. All those are very, very important and essential skills to teach to children. And in the Chico Thinkers paper, we listed these are the activities, these are the things that will bring about the higher order thinking skills that we must engage with. Then the next one, equally important, is agency. Can you teach your children to have agency? Students create their learning experiences, you set your own goals, manage your progress, and evaluate your work. Have agency. Make decisions. I don't know about you parents now. Have you reduced on buying pens and pencils and geometry sets for your children? Put up your hand if you're at that level now. Because next week they are going to school. Are you going to buy those things?
Yes.
Why? Why? Even a pen, you can't buy it. Even a pencil, you can't buy it. So how will you develop agency if you are with a person who cannot buy a pen? I found out that some parents also buy pens for students who are going to university. Trouble. Okay? So allow them to develop agency. Final one for most likely to succeed is deep retained knowledge. Allow students or invite your children to develop real mastery of topics they study. In Uganda, it can be difficult because in the curriculum, it can be difficult because sometimes the topics are very many. But in the Cambridge and the new curriculum, I should have added that we have a new curriculum now, lower school, secondary school, new curriculum. It is very exciting, but to be hindered by infrastructure because it can be a problem, it can be expensive. But deep mastery of topics. Read about Salman Khan of MIT in America. He said things like getting 75% in a topic, we should say that's very poor. A topic trying to get 95%. He said, okay, you people like building. You've built your house, and then the builder comes and tells you, this roof is now 75%. Please sleep. Will you sleep? You want your roof to be at 100% or 110%. But if the builder tells you, no, I've done it very well, it's at 75%, you may not sleep. So in conclusion, I have a few quotes sorry, I forgot. Is it Alex? Abbas is going to project the quotes from Most Likely to Succeed. Very powerful quotes, and I've already shared them with Francis. So I request Abbas to screen them. And President, I thank you so much for listening to me. I hope we can grow this discussion today.
Thank you very much, Rtn Oskar. We appreciate, and members, I'm sure you have picked one or two things. This is a topic which is so dear to all of us because of the generation that we are growing. As we go through those quotes, we are going to have additional question and answer, but we shall also add about 15 minutes so that we can get all our questions answered from what he's been talking about. Can someone move the mic? Any questions, members?
Yeah, thank you very much, Rtn Oskar, for that insightful presentation. I remember in the past we used to have 2 sessions. I think those were in the 70s and the 80s, where we could have senior school going students attending, some attending in the morning and then another batch attending in the afternoon. I don't know where that one disappeared, but I think when you look at the overcrowding, the introduction of USD, I think would have been a better system that continued with it. And it talks about, so again, the kind of people who went to school during that period. You find that as much as you look at the education system, but you find these are guys who are multi-skilled. Just as you talked about Rotarian Star military. But when you look at now the education system, of the current education system, you'll find that a number of children, our children are not all that outgoing, or some of them not very innovative. I think that's another area that we may have to discuss further. Then lastly, the scenario that I have is one of my colleagues was today, I mean, was Charles said that well, he's not going to continue from senior. He said, I'm going out to take a call to school. I think the discussion, that's where it should be moving. Because we have turned very many educational, some of those impactful institutions into universities. And you find that now we are lacking in a number of things. Thank you very much.
Pass on the mic to
thank you very much, Oskar, for a very interesting topic. One, just quick things that I noted in the presentation. One of the issues I have a problem with is the emphasis on grades. You mentioned that probably in passing. And the issue of grades is a problem, and it's affecting our output in schools. That everyone should get A. That's why kids are in school from 6 a.m. to 7, 8 p.m. and even on weekends, because they must get A's. And we know for a fact that most of the people who get A's later in life, we don't see them. But that's not the main thing. The issue, I agree with you, is on or if it's related to other or not. Just knowing presented. So we need to create and to allow our children to think. If we don't, we are finished. And actually, as a people, we are thinkers. Because as you rightly said, the things that puzzle you, I see that the people who know those things, many of them have not even been to school. They've learned these things on the street. So how come people are more creative outside the formal sector, and within the formal sector, we are less creative, but we speak good English, put on suits, and that's it. So also the jobs available are largely for people who are not skilled. And most of the time, you don't know how to think. So you see somebody behind a computer, customer service. you check, yeah, your account is okay, it's not okay. So some of the jobs available don't allow us to do that. Thank you.
Let's have return error first, then we shall come to return pay.
Thank you so much, Oskar. Oskar, at what point are we having the cutting edge between education and business? And you know, of late, I've been lucky to be in school systems. We have children who are developers, bring in whatever quality that you want. They will help you build the infrastructure, and you present a certain percentage to the public as success. So at what point are we cutting between education and business?
Okay. So if we are done, let's a speaker answer those, and then we'll close it. Thank you.
Give me a rural place somewhere. Shout out one. Katapi, for example. I don't think you make money. Okay, you may not make money. So it is not true that just start a school and make money. Zero, you not make money. I've also seen that in some schools, if you start a school in Jinja, okay, as close to Kampala as Jinja, if you have not thought about it, you will not make money. So even the action of starting a school needs an assessment, needs an understanding of the audience, needs the kind of education you're going to deliver, the fees you're going to charge, start. So there's a business education that follows that. And so I don't recommend that if you are failing with everything, go and start a school. I disagree. Interestingly, we at Type had very many innovations. There's a boy I had eventually got scholarship, went to America. He designed an app, I've forgotten the app's name, a messaging app. He designed it completely, and it used to work. There was an election time, I think it was 2016, when WhatsApp was closed. He kept telling people, you come to my app, it is working very well. And I was very, very impressed by him. This year we have a young man in S5 who has introduced an idea of a careers gala. Once a one day completely in the field, we invite all kinds of parents, and they come, and the parents will be the exhibitioners talking about their work. Okay, and we are buying into the idea. So we have students come up with many ideas, and we have an environment that allows them to work. We actually also do work experience. Okay, so we find job placements, and I thank parents who give us jobs and take the students to work, and they do very well. Internally, our children at all the primary schools and the secondary school, you have a day of being student on duty. So when your child says, this time I'm student on duty, you need to give me some work clothes. That day they will spend the work as student on duty. We also have some who finish exams early, and we don't want to send them back home early. So we ask them to manage the school, for example. Someone could be principal for the week, and they sit in the principal's chair. Another one sits in a teacher's chair for the week, and they manage. That one says, me, I want to be a chef. They go to the kitchen, and they manage very well, okay? So we do that quite regularly. Rotarian Dan, you are so right. Teaching to the exam is also one of the ways in which we've not deliver a good education for your child. However, teaching to the exam is also important. I keep telling both teachers and children, you know, money, the exam is our money, okay? If you don't pass the exam, then you are going to have real trouble. But my mantra is you can really have a good school life and also pass the exam, okay? So in term 1, term 2, we do so many things. In fact, in our secondary school, in term 1, we don't even do exams, okay? No one does exams in term 1 because exams waste time, okay? So all that time is study time. So when there are some schools are very brave. They do beginning of term exam, mid, and then they do end of month, then they do end of year. Oh, look at all that. I persuaded people that we don't have that time. Okay. So in term 1, we don't do an exam, but we have big theatrical production. Okay. We have sports days, we have lunch hour music. You should visit our school in a week where we have lunch hour music. In that week, no one sleeps. Okay. But then in that time, we teach to the exam, okay? Because if you don't get a good exam result, trouble. But when we teach to the exam, even a parent who knows that their child cannot get a 4 is supervising that 4. Why? So the pressure is mostly from parents. That's how we end up in that commercial marketing. Is best to become a teacher. Yes, you gave examples, and Aaron gave examples as well. The truth is, not many people who get A's can be business people. Okay, the people who score A's, and if you have that child who's scoring A, assess your children who's scoring A, get them into science, get them into higher disciplines. Actually, it is true. You need to take them to medicine. Because the people who have A's are very clever. They are clever in terms of retention, clever in terms of application, clever in terms of processing. The business world cannot imagine you. Business world wants you to have a certain level of risk, okay? So if you do not have that level of risk, please do not go into business. And if you're an A student, you are most unlikely to not be risky at all. Your appetite for risk will be close to 0, okay? And I think now banks are developing apps that will show that this one is very clever. Don't give him a business role, okay? So they are studying. So if you are very clever, continue that path, you'll make a very good professor, okay? You'll make a very good teacher. That's where we want to send clever people to. Very, very important that we give it attention. And then you talked about teaching. Whenever I get new teachers, I do it deliberately with them. I say to them, okay, lesson has started. Get your books out. I'm going to teach you this lesson. Now start copying. Students spend their school hours bored, comma. Then you write. How long is it going to take you writing? Covering irrelevant material, comma. Doing mindless tasks, comma. Sir, what was the first line? Then we go back. So actually, in that kind of education, there is no learning whatsoever. Children have to go back and then fend for themselves because you have taught nothing. About earlier in the year, there was something about a lady, and some people were saying she's such a great woman. But no, the bag is on the table. Who remember seeing that? The bag is under, children say the bag is underneath the chair. And then the children say the bag is underneath the chair. Come on, guys, children say the bag is on the chair. They should say the bag is on the chair. And then we'll say that teacher suffered. And I said that teacher must suffer because that teacher wasted the children's time. Okay. But in terms of knowledge and AI, you know, Google can tell you so much. Google, some people actually bother things that really, Mr. Google is available for you. Then Wikipedia, now AI. So one of the quotes I have written down is, students spend their school hours bored, covering irrelevant material, doing mindless tasks, taking far too many standardized tests, and having the creativity and innovation schooled out of them. Our focus shouldn't be to give all kids equal access to the same bad education. We need to reinvent education and give all kids a fighting chance. 2 school sessions, was it Fred? Actually, when we had, that was where I started. I started my teaching at Ruby, and I had 2 school sessions, and I was a very successful young teacher. So I worked, unfortunately, it meant I worked 2 school sessions against my will. One of the reasons I left. But there were no schools then. So the reason I had 2 school sessions was that the numbers were more than the schools. But right now, there are very, very many schools. So 2 school sessions are not required. It was not like educational values that gave us 2 school sessions. It was just the number of schools. And you say that people that went to those early schools maybe did well. I doubt the children of today, they are sharper. In fact, if you allow your children to be focused, if you give them freedom to talk, to read up, I bet your children are sharper than you. Okay? Just allow them, tell them the boundaries, allow them. Even for us teachers, if you're going to class, as Aaron said there, you want to do something with your computer and whatever AI, I'm better off telling the child to do those things. Okay? Because then I give them, they're very, very sharp, very innovative. Technical schools is the way to go. But it is a brave person in Uganda who will take that child to a technical school, because the technical schools are not in a good way. I've known 2 technical schools. In Kenya, one was called Evening School of Tailoring, and we sent some children there. They're really very, very good with tailoring from that school. It's a very tough school, but very good. Then there's another one with architectural studies. Again, it's a technical school, I think it's in Nakuru. And I advise someone, if you want to do architecture, send them there. But no one sends them there. They send them to university. But the universities in Uganda on architecture, it is hard. Okay? So I don't know when after they've gone through all that hardness, where there is still a bit of creativity to construct buildings creatively, because that course is hard. I have a niece there. She said they started 45. Right now, they are down to 33 and 2 repeating a year. Okay, and yet architecture should be about creativity. So, thank you, President.
Another round of applause for appreciate the inspiration in how to educate. Let our young people grow well in getting the knowledge that they need.
njagala omuntu yenna ategeera education ya Uganda nnyinnyonnyole. Lwaki abaana tubatwala ku ssomero ku ssaawa 12 ne bavaayo ssaawa 12? Bawala bange mu boarding school bazukka ssaawa 11. Balina ne prep gye bavaamu essaawa 4 ez'ekiro. Naye ng'ebitabo bye basomamu ne concepts ze bakozesa ziva Bungereza. Eri eva ebintu bye basoma ne computer ze bakozesa batandika okusoma ssaawa 3, ssaawa 9 nga bamaze okuva ku nursery paka ku senior 6. Yonna ne mu America gye bakola ennyonyi. Wano we tukola emikweeka ne gye tutwala kaawa nga si muse bali abasa kaawa basoma essaawa 6 olunaku. Fe abatalina nnyo kye tukola tulina ne prep. Ddala tulina buzibu ki? Ddala lwaki abaana abafa abawano tutalina kye tukola ky'amaanyi? Tugule mumoloka enkadde ne tuziyita empya. Ssaawa emu eriko n'emigo abatatuuseemu paka ssaawa 12 ne bakwata ensawo enzite nnyo. Yobaani atuloga nnyinnyonnyole. Bali abakola emmoloka basoma okuva ssaawa 3, 9 nga bamaze. Abo baba bamaze okusoma ebisobola okukola emmotoka. Wano fe abagula envuga emu tulina ne prep.
If you are happy and you know, and you really want to show, if you are happy and you know, shout rotary, rotary. I learned that when I was in P1. I just take it ahead before that was. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Oscar. We appreciate everything, but sorry about the certificate. You already killed them.
There are several reasons. The first one I've already mentioned to you, that we are teaching an outdated curriculum of 1918. Then the content we are teaching also is outdated. For instance, I was taught in geography that there is Kongwa irrigation scheme in Tanzania where granules grow. When you go there today, it is nowhere. You go to Gezira cotton irrigation scheme in Sudan, it is no longer there. So some of the content that we are teaching today is history of that subject. In physics, many of the learners are taught that we have diodes. But the diodes are no longer there today.
I also studied them in
Diodes.
physics, yes.
The children are also taught that there are 3 states of matter in Abbott. The book was written in 1945. And now you are teaching the learners today who can go on Google and find how many states of matter. When you type in 2009, there were already 7 states of matter up to today. In 2005, there were 5 states of matter. So are we teaching science or history of science? When you look at biology, there is a topic, flowering plants. This topic of flowers here.
Yes.
In McKean, Introduction to Biology by McKean, or New Tropical Biology by Cousins, there are 8 pages talking about the flower. The current book by Esther Mada, this one, it has only 2 pages. Because this content here is activity based. The learners have to do an activity. The other one was spoon feeding you, and
They
you are
give
not
you
engaged.
everything, and then all you do is to
Here,
whatever the
there are 2 activities. When you do them, you get all the other 8.
Then the RI conference in May, beginning 25th. As many of us should register and we go and connect with international Rotarians. I am going to request our Anne, the Anne of this club, to give us information. I am sure I have an announcement. please get a mic and make your announcement as we get statistics from that table. Yeah, okay. But let's first get her announcement. No, see, so we take pictures in that. Yes. I'm going to give everyone their material. My name is Sarah. Let's see. Sorry, my name is Sarah Suga, and I'm an owner of this club, as you've heard. I usually come to visit this club around this time. I've been labeled and branded, but I visit just to advertise cowboy, and yes, it's true. I try to give my husband space. So I'm the chair for the cowboy for this year, and therefore that's why I'm moving around with my booth. And but I know that I'm very supported by this club. I can't put a disclaimer because I feel honored that I'm always supported, and I hope I also count on your support this year. And I request you to buy a table of 2 million. That will be more support than usual. A table goes with some drinks. The event will take place on the 15th of October at the Zambia Gardens. Probably all know where they are. Very beautiful gardens. Yeah, I know try to go down to the hospital. So yes, the tickets for single, for individuals are 100,000, and tables over 2 million. Thank you very much. Members, I encourage us to register for Cowboy and make a table for this club. We have always got a table, and let's not disappoint this year. And this year we should even go in big numbers in support of our LG, David Izuka. So we can have statistics. We are going to take pictures in that. They call it what? Tell people that we are going. Please proceed.
Okay, the Rotary clubs that were represented tonight are Rotary Club of Kampala South, RC Kireka, RC Mengo, RC Kampala North, RC Sonde, and RC Kasese. The Rotaract clubs that were represented are RC Stadia and Rock. And the Interact clubs, we had Kololo. The members, both Gates and Rotarians, they were 43 plus those online. Thank you so much.
I don't know whether you mentioned all Rotary clubs, but we appreciate you all in your capacities, wherever you are. Those who have been online, we really, really appreciate. Encourage you to come and visit this club always, even continue to come in big numbers, physically and online. We shall now be abstaining for the final dose. For those who have had extra questions, our speaker unfortunately will be leaving immediately. Next time, maybe you can find him at Kampala North, because he came earlier than all of us. MD Ivan, please give us a final toast.
To make this world come ourselves, and also in honor of Rotary School annual business. Until next year, those two which is not.
Members, please let's come and take a picture so that other people from other clubs shall know that we are going. Sarah, please come forward and let's have the picture. Me.